Hello, everybody. Welcome to the ESL Hearthstone Legendary Series. My name is TJ Osmocutie Sanders, and I'm joined with Frodan once again. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Day number 2 is already about to begin, and day number 1 was really fun. We had a lot of great games. In the end, Trump defeated Savitz to take the series 3-2 and get a ticket to California, which means 4 out of our 5 players are pretty well-known people. I'm really excited to see how the land continues to shape up.
Yeah, and all those players had to play through qualifiers themselves, so they've had to play games to get to that point. We can take a look at the format real quick. Basically, the Redemption Tournament is all the runner-ups from the 4 weeks of the regular season to the Legendary Series, put into 4 separate 7-player brackets, and over the course of this weekend are going to fight it out. Yesterday, we saw Trump coming ahead in his bracket, and of course, today we are going to see one more player join him at that Legendary Series LAN Finals.
Yeah, I think I'm really excited for the LAN Finals. It promises to be extremely exciting. A lot of people saw the first season. It was cool. We had some fun moments. We had some pretty awkward moments like we usually do in Hearthstone events. Yeah. But the most important thing is that we were able to build up a story around guys like Silent Storm, who people said it was the best player you haven't heard of. Now that people already started to hear of who is the next person to rise up, I think we have a good mix of players who are established. We have Colento coming from week 1. Life coach from week 2. Kabi from week 3. He's the newcomer from South America, but he did defeat Savitz in the finals. That's twice that Yanni got denied there at the final stop.
Yeah.
And then the fourth week was Reynad from Tempo Storm. And then we have 8 more slots coming in next week through the open qualifier for any North American participants. We want to give out World Championship points, and in order to do so, we have to have 8 slots that are open and 8 that technically get invited through our qualification process. But effectively, it's going to be a very, very competitive format. So next week, if you're in North America, make sure to sign up over at legendaryseries.com.
Indeed. And, of course, we have to remind you once again, even though we say it every single week, the format, of course, for the matches is Conquest. Conquest is, of course, best of 5. Each player brings 3 unique decks. In order to win the match, they must win 1 game with each of those 3 decks. Of course, it's a blind pick, and the winning player must choose a new deck. Loser can opt to switch with the deck they just lost with or change it up.
That's right. It's really important that we continue to hash this out because we recognize that a lot of users are still new to the Hearthstone experience. They may have seen it for the first time on mobile. If you are an iPhone or an Android smartphone user and you just download Hearthstone, congratulations, you're about to waste a lot of your free time or your actual working time.
Yeah,
it's a really fun game. I hope you guys enjoy it. We play a format called Conquest, where you have to win with once at each deck. This is because it's a foil from last year, where in 2014 the format was you would play until a deck loses. We called it King of the Hill or Last Hero Standing. And people were just, they want to see more diversity because that's part of the fun of Hearthstone, seeing people be able to play with a lot of different classes and styles instead of just one archetype just dominating like an aggressive deck or, a very slow controlling deck.
Yeah, there was players last year who were very adamant about saying their how displeased they were.
They really hated losing to Hunter, for example.
Hunter or Zoo Warlock. Yeah. Aggressive decks that the best of 5 series would last a total of, 15 minutes?
Sometimes. In the extreme scenario where you're just 3-0 because you drew, the aggressive decks drew pretty well, and then unfortunately the opponent did not prepare. Of course, you can always argue that the opponent should have brought decks that were okay against it. It's his fault for not having a good deck against it, because there's no perfect deck in Hearthstone. Is there anything close to perfect, do you think?
Control Warrior.
You think it's close to perfect?
Perfect
and it that
is so subjective, I suppose.
It's like no bad matchups. It's incredibly robust no matter what. I think the closest that ever came was mid-range Hunter's Dominance when it had 2 mana Unleash the Hounds with 2 mana Buzzard.
Yeah.
And people were starting to really understand the synergy with Undertaker. Like, that was probably the most destructive, crazy deck where just like, even its worst matchup was like 50-50.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Control Warrior, I'd say, might be the most refined just because it's been around for so long without many changes. But
no, I don't know about that. But it is definitely really refined.
Yeah.
But, I mean, look, you can look at like Zoo. Zoo is probably the most optimized list in all of Hearthstone. Don't you think?
Well, there's like a big
the thing is, like,
smudgy line.
Control decks can never truly be refined in a timeless sequence because the meta game is always changing, and a control deck always has to react to what another deck builds out. So if they don't have the right response, say they're playing big game hunters and there's no giants or any, like, no one, say all of a sudden people decide to stop running Dr. Boom mysteriously, then Big Game Hunter is not really useful, and so that one card is not really refined. It's pretty hard to subjectively say which deck is like the most optimized, but I would definitely lean over towards that. The Warlock decks are pretty good. I think Face Hunter, part of the reason why it's so strong is because it's optimized in terms of damage. When they found out Worgen Infiltrator was a good card too for it, pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, small changes over time. But one of the reasons why we're able to have Legendary Series, be able to fly these guys out to California, be able to have a 16-player LAN, is, of course, our sponsors, Plantronics and Gigabyte G1, are helping us out with the Legendary Series this season and making a bunch of cool things possible. Last season, we had an 8-player LAN. This season, it's going to be 16 over the course of 3 days. It's going to be really crazy, and it wouldn't be possible without those guys. So if you want some Plantronics headsets, maybe some Gigabyte G1 motherboards, head to those links that you just saw below and help support us and support what we do with Hearthstone.
That's right. And make sure you guys stay in the conversation as well on social media. Hashtag HLS and tweet at ESL Hearthstone. Let us know your favorite matches, who you want to win, maybe who you don't want to win. Some people are into that as well. And you can even comment about how the production is, any suggestions, feedback, comments, concerns.
Not just with Hearthstone.
Yeah. Any positories that you have as well. So
also, we're giving away Plantronics headsets as well as packs. You can head over to esl.gg/redemption series. Follow the instructions on the screen. You'll be entered into that raffle to win, like I said, the Plantronics headset or even some free classic packs.
That's good stuff, man. I'm actually realizing that I'm missing some important cards from my collection. I still don't have, I don't have Illidan myself. I know Brian Kibler was saying he doesn't have Illidan. I looked at my collection. I was like, I don't have Illidan either. That's kind of weird.
I opened a golden Illidan once upon a time, had to disenchant it.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I actually have one of those scenarios where I have a golden legendary, and I can get any legendary I want, but it's golden, and it's Malygos. So it's like a golden Malygos. And so I have a normal one, and I have a golden one. And I'm like, well,
you're saving it up.
Should I disenchant this golden one so that way I can get any collection and get a full collection? Or should I actually start going on the pay-to-win train and just start getting golden everything and disenchant my regular Malygos? It's quite the conundrum.
It is. Definitely is.
Yeah.
I feel for you. Well, let's take a look at the groups for today. Group B is what we're going to see today. Chakki, Stripecrow, Cross, Modern Leopard, BunnyMuffins, Lead Paint, and GCT Turret. Then we're going to show you Group C, but that's not going to take place tomorrow. But you'll see players like Roger, Zuzu, Luigi's, Cornetto, Luffy, Soundstorm, and Domnus. But we can go ahead and take a closer look at Group B, which is the group that will play out today. GCT Turret gets automatically seeded into the semifinals since he is the only player in this group that finished second place during his regular season week. Everybody else finished below that, and so GTT Turret gets rewarded for his higher placing finish. Everybody else has to go through, and it is single elimination, best of 5 conquest all the way through. The winner moves on to the Legendary Series Land Final. Everybody else gets nothing. There's no prize pool associated, so it's winner take all.
Well, they already won some money through the Open Cups, so they have a nice little amount of pocket change. The winner did get a pretty good amount, over $1,000, and now they also get a ticket to the land. So that's really cool for them to secure. Of course, they want to get a little bit more too. There's World Championship points on the line, and being able to get the World Championship points, some people might be wondering, what's it all for? It seeds into the World Championships happening at BlizzCon later this year. And in order to get some of those points, you have to win some of these tournaments or place high on ladder. And ladder is extremely competitive, so tournaments are another format where people can not necessarily go through that grind if they don't want to feel like it's going to contribute towards anything. Plus, they win some money on the side.
Money on the side is always a good thing, but we are moments away from jumping into the first match. It is going to be between Chakki and BunnyMuffins. Now, Chakki participated in Week 3, where he tied for 3rd place. He had an overall game score of 7 wins, 10 losses, so he did pretty well making it to 3rd, but his game score tells a different story. BunnyMuffins, on the other hand, he has struggled quite a bit. In week number 4, which was the last week they were broadcasted, he tied for 7th, or that's the first player to be eliminated. He had an overall game score of 1 win and 6 losses, and overall, his overall record in games that were broadcasted, so on Twitch TV or otherwise, games that were broadcasted, BunnyMuffins has a total game record of 2 wins and 18 losses.
Ooh.
Yeah, that is very, very rough. And so He's obviously made it far in qualifiers. He qualified for Season 1 of the Legendary Series, so we got to broadcast and cast him last season. He's qualified for many other things as well as this season of the Legendary Series. But once it comes down to the matches that matter, he struggled quite a bit. So we'll have to see if he can turn that around. And it's going to be Warrior versus Rogue first off. Now, Chakki messaged me last night, and he said, TJ, you better
ESL? Oh, yeah.
you better have your SM Orc emote ready tomorrow, which led me to believe that Chakki's going to be going back to his roots and playing 3 very hyper-aggressive decks. He's got the lineup to do it. Rogue, Hunter, and Warlock are his 3 classes. And this Rogue deck, as we saw, has Shadow Step, Arcane Golem, Loot Hoarder, Goblin Auto Barber, double Arcane Golem. So I imagine this is just a super aggressive Rogue deck with Shadow Steps, Cold Bloods, Tinker Sharps the Royal, where you just go super aggressive, super quickly. And I've actually seen this deck make quite a resurgence lately, if you can call it a resurgence. It sort of reminds me, at least the idea of it, to Backspace Rogue, which was popular a couple months ago. But it's a really exciting
It's been a
deck.
while since the aggro rogue has actually been viable. It's back when the reason why it even first came to existence was, I guess you can say that Miracle Rogue was so dominant and popular that 1, it was unexpected, but 2, the fact is it was a very good at killing Miracle Rogue, the best deck at the time, because Rogue had to use its own hero power to trade a lot. So cards like, you know, the anything that like got Cold Blood, like Argent Squire or something like that, got a double dip damage. It's just like insanely powerful.
Yeah. Slightly awkward first set of turns for Chakki, though. This deck sort of relies on having
really quick start.
Yeah, very explosive start. And he's just got a handful of 3-drops, which I can imagine he doesn't really have many cards that are more expensive than 4. He might even like top out at like Tinker Sharpsword, or which might be one of the highest drops in his deck. So,
well, talk about impromptu. Build your own deadly poison. Goblin Auto Barber, definitely one of those cards where people were thinking upon GVG release to be like one of the really good, solid value cards.
Yeah.
It just hasn't really found its way into many decks because it's relative low power level, just compared to having other things in the deck that are more valuable.
It's also awkward. I mean, on turn 2, you want a dagger. Then on turn 3, you don't really want to play an auto.
Well, you
Goblin
can.
Auto Barber.
You can if you want to put like a True Silver Champion on board or something. Like you attach that in a Deadly Poison, but then then you don't have the Deadly Poison for the SI on turn 4. And it messes up all these normal paradigms that you're used to in the Rogue deck. And so it's curious to see that Chakki's attached it in this, but I don't mind. I personally love playing it in Mech Rogue because it's really useful on things like the Cogmaster's Wrench, which turn it into a 4/3 weapon.
I know that all too well.
TJ knows that all too well. We played a best of 5 to start off the day, and TJ beat me really badly in the first game.
And then lost.
Well, barely. Well, actually, it was funny. We should actually tell how this series went throughout the rest of the day. But for now, focusing on Chakki's play here, the Loot Hoarder definitely seems to be the best way because he needs to get rid of this Armor Smith. Super problematic because you don't want the Warrior to be gaining too much life here.
Yeah. This deck can actually piece together large burst combos in the late game relatively easily. Arcane Golem, Shadow Step, Cold Blood. It's sort of reminiscent to the old Miracle Rogue style. It just can do the burst combos a lot sooner. And the burst combos have more flexibility because Arcane Golem, of course, you can play a couple turns earlier than Leroy. You can fit more than one set of the combo in, at least nowadays, with like double Shadow Step. So...
Well, there's a couple of choices here for Chakki, or sorry, for BunnyMuffins. He can go for Dread Corsair and start putting out patrons. He could have gone also really defensive on the Sludge Belcher end, and honestly, both are okay considering that you saw Goblin Auto Barbers, you see Loot Hoarders, so you have to understand that this deck already has to be pretty aggressive.
Wolf Rider.
Yeah. Now, I guess the good side is Wolf Rider. I mean, it doesn't necessarily get taken advantage of by the Grim Patron effect. It just trades in, right?
Yeah.
This is definitely one of the rougher decks, though, to go against because Patron Warrior has gotten pretty decent at handling aggro. I used to think that Patron Warrior was pretty bad against aggro, but with the inclusion of Armor Smiths and Sludge Belchers, they have been able to handle their fair share without losing too much potency as a burst combination deck.
Yeah. I feel like this is one of the aggro decks that it should struggle with the most. But
I think so.
Yeah, just because it's got not more reach, but more, I want to say flexibility, but I'm not sure if that's the right word. Just because the hero power alone is so much different than Hunter or Warlock because you can actually interact with the board with it. It's not just one-dimensional in the fact that, oh, you either do 2 damage to their face or you draw a card, which drawing a card is good, but usually the hero power just allows your cards to go further instead of needing to draw cards.
Well, it's really interesting to see that the Coldlight Oracle is going to end up drawing more cards for a combo deck, but, I mean, this is kind of what needs to happen in order for Chakki to put on reasonable pressure.
Yeah. You want to kill them before the cards that you give them from Coldlight Oracle make that much of a difference.
Right. It usually is your reach, assuming that you're top decking and trying to find the right answer, and then all of a sudden use Coldlight to dig a little bit deeper. Immediate draw impact as opposed to like a Novice Engineer, which draws only 1.
Yeah.
I wonder.
And since you're controlling the draw in your turn, like you said, the immediate use, you can make immediate use of the cards where your opponent has to wait till the next turn. So drawing cards on your turn is more effective than drawing cards on your opponent's turn.
Well, BunnyMuffins did end up drawing a weapon, and weapon with the Dread Corsair makes it free. So that's 5 mana remaining, and he can set up the Sludge Belcher afterwards. I mean, there's a lot of ways to utilize the fact that a lot of cards have been reduced in cost pretty effectively here and gain back a lot of tempo on the board.
And he's seen the Wolf Rider, so he knows exactly the purpose of this deck.
So Battle Rage, that's also doable because you have the Cruel Taskmaster, which can take out the SI7 agent, and then the Dread Corsair gets charged as well. You can toss into Battle Rage. That seems like a very greedy play, considering that you already have a lot of cards. I still like, this original play that we were talking about. The Sludge Belcher opens up a window of you to set up other things like the Pilot Shredder, so that way it just doesn't get sniped easily.
Yeah.
And Cold Blood is pretty rough. I was talking to Hyped about Cold Blood in the current meta, and it's just too inconsistent. Sometimes it's just not the 4 damage. It overkills a lot of things too because of Sludge Belchers. And he said, I was like, well, what did you play instead of Cold Bloods? And he was suggesting other cards that could really fit into it. Shadow Step wasn't one of them. In fact, he's Shadow Stepping his Coldlight Oracle just to find better answers.
And in fact, I think that's why in the last turn, BunnyMuffins decided to kill the 2-power Coldlight Oracle as opposed to the 3-power SI Agent. Which seems a little weird since he's putting down Dread Corsair and SI Agent can trade in where Coldlight Oracle can't. But he was trying to play around the ability for Chakki to Shadow Step the Coldlight Oracle because he didn't want him to draw into more reach, which is a pretty good read. I mean, I guess it's not that tough because you see Wolf Rider, which Wolf Rider, when you see a Wolf Rider,
Wolf Rider
is
pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Here we go, one more time. Coldlight Oracle, and that's going to mill a couple cards here from BunnyMuffins. Azure Trade, so that is what tops out. Warsong Commander, number 2 gets burned. Not sure how relevant that will end up being, considering that one Warsong Commander might end up doing the case here. Still no second Grim Patron, but there is a Frothing Berserker. How much damage can he do? 3, 6. Frothing Berserker is 8, plus a Cruel Taskmaster, that's 11.
I wonder.
No, that's not enough.
No.
Just, always worth calculating.
Yeah. Especially with Patron Warrior.
Right.
A high-level Patron Warriors will tell you that the one mistake a lot of players make is not calculating lethal.
Right.
Like every turn that you think you might even be remotely close.
Oh, man, that's a big draw, too. It's like the Blade Flurry here with the Deadly Poison. One thing to consider, too, is, the damage from the hand, because how much can you just generate with, like, an Unstable Ghoul, Frothing Berserker, and a Warsong Commander with some whirlwinds. I think someone was telling me how Deathspite with Dread Corsair plus a War Song, Frothing, and Unstable is 20 damage.
Yeah.
And like that's comparable to Leroy back in the day, or
as long as you have something to hit the Unstable goal into.
Yeah, the Power Overwhelming combinations with Faceless Manipulator.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a really big deal. Now you can start getting past these taunts, and these are the only taunts / defensive cards remaining outside of Unstable Ghoul. And Chakki is going to utilize this as best as he can. He's going to wait to see what also comes out of this Pilot Shredder. That is really bad.
Yep.
Oh, man. Unstable Ghoul number 2.
That's actually...
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Hold on. So, if he kills us off, and he uses SI7 agent here,
he's got a proc for the
there's
Unstable
3
goal.
minions. And then this Frothing Berserker gains 2 plus 2, that's 4, 6. Plus the Quiltasm, that's 3. Plus the 2, that's 11. Plus another... Oh, wait. Plus another 3 from the Unstable Ghoul.
I think that's lethal.
That has to be lethal.
Yeah.
Cause he, oh, yeah, can he fit in the Fiery War Axe attack as well? That's 2, 4, 7. No, maybe. Maybe. It's really tight. But I do think he has lethal. I think he has 19 damage, if we calculate correctly.
It'd be 10 with the first Unstable Ghoul. What? No.
Oh, I forgot the Warsong Commander counts as minion, so he definitely has lethal now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he attacks into this twice. That's,
It'll be the 8 attack.
yeah.
He attacks into it again. It'll be +5, so it'll be at 13. He Cruel Taskmasters.
Right.
It'll be at 16. So no, that shouldn't be.
No,
Oh no, he'll get the 2 damage from the Cruel Taskmaster.
right,
so
exactly, yeah. So the
2
19,
overkill.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or 18 or 19.
No, it gives a Cruel Taskmaster damage as well.
Yeah.
Like to the face.
Oh yeah. Because the Cruel Taskmaster
Exactly.
also take damage. JC can stat really well. Yeah.
Okay. I counted correctly, TJ. Oh wait, no, he did 20 damage. He did 20 damage.
20
Dang
damage.
it! Ah, okay, well, it was really close. The point
yeah.
is, he definitely had that lethal. It was almost like a little bit inconsequential, even if he sequenced it improperly. But I think BunnyMuffins definitely did the right order there.
Yeah, that was the maximum amount of damage. Yeah.
I mean, he could have, like, for example, Cruel Task like second, like last, but still would have been able to get in the damage there.
Yeah.
I would have missed like 1 or 2 damage, but whatever.
I was counting the. I took a minimalistic approach, so I was counting just the amount of damage that you would need to like just lethal him without overkill. Just because that's, yeah. So I was right by my logic.
You're always right, TJ.
Yeah.
You're always right.
Well, BunnyMuffins is going to take game number 1, and road deck not working out so well for Chakki that game, but he did have a pretty rough start, and I'd imagine that deck would. A lot of it depends. It depends what type of tech the Sludge Belchers were tough to get through.
Yeah, that's right. The Sludge Belchers definitely were, I think, a hidden MVP. A lot of people could look and be like, wow, of course the Frothing Berserker is like the huge thing, but remember those slimes holding back the gates? How much damage did Chakki have? He had 2 Cold Bloods, 2 Arcane Golems, and a Shadow Step at one point. And he ended up using the Shadow Step for draw because he didn't need it for extra damage.
It's 20 damage.
So that's 20 damage. And his opponent was at, like, 18 health. So he had him covered, and it's definitely doable with an 8 mana, 9 mana. So it's one of those things where Chakki could have been 1 turn away from lethal. And he also did have cards like Sap ready to go, too. So it's a little unfortunate that he wasn't able to squeeze it out. But he ends up switching it out. And he's going to be trying to see if he can capitalize onto this Druid deck. Now, I have a question. Was Chakki targeting a specific deck at all when he was talking to you?
To be honest, I think he... No, because that's the only thing he told me. I responded to what he said about the better have your SM work emote ready, and he never said another word. It was very cryptic and Chakki-esque.
Well, I don't think it's very cryptic at all. I think it's pretty easy to crack that code. I think he's playing aggro decks.
But then I meant when I tried to like ask him questions. He could have been trying to mind games me.
Right, and he's playing like Fatigue Hunter.
Yeah, like 4 or
like
yeah,
every
4,
deadly
3
shot, explosive shot, multi-shot.
Yeah, I didn't really know for sure until I saw his deck lineup. Once I saw Rogue Hunter Warlock, I knew that for sure. Like, he was just going full out aggression.
Soulfire for 1 mana. Here we go.
Yeah, and I was actually, I can't remember who I told, but one of the production team earlier, I said, Chakki's going to run 3 super aggressive decks, and I wouldn't even say this would be mid-range Zoo. I'm going to guess that this is just straight up good old-fashioned
I just want to see like
Zoo
Scarlet Crusader and like Blood Knight, like the old days. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
the Blood Knight
Argent Squire
and the Zoo
as
decks?
well.
Yeah.
You could Argent Squire turn 1 and then coin out Blood Knight turn 2. It was really, that could win you games right there. There was a lot of ways, a lot of openings back then that could just win you games.
Sure. All right, now there's a lot of ways to optimize. That makes sense. I remember Strife Crow ran Arcane Golem and Zoo for a while with Power Overwhelmings.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah. That was around BlizzCon time.
Yeah.
So,
changed.
Do you innervate Wrath because you're just like afraid of this? Or I guess you don't. Do you even need to necessarily Wild Growth now? You're pretty much guaranteed to play anything you draw. You for 7 mana with 2 innervates.
Yep.
I think you just Wrath here because it's too much of a threat.
Yeah. It's a pretty bad hand though.
It is rough, especially because he could easily just have another dead draw, like another combo piece, or another Wild Growth.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, well, this actually doesn't do anything, and my opponent just builds minions.
Yeah. There's a lot of dead draws that are in his hand that could make him fall too far behind. And this is a deck that if you fall behind, you pretty much just lose.
Now, if you're Chakki, you can definitely put your opponent on like Wrath, right? Like, why would you struggle that long? Because it's either Hero Power Wild Growth, and Wild Growth's probably like strictly better in that situation.
Not that it changes his play.
Right.
But
I'm just like wondering
if there was
information giving there.
Yeah, if there was something that he could do to play around Wrath, that is a dead giveaway.
Wrath for 1 to draw.
Well, Ancient of Lore is actually pretty good because he can innervate that out next turn to try and diversify his hand. But
his opponent has Soulfire.
He's taking a lot of damage so far.
So, TJ, why don't you... why do you think Soulfire has just completely rotated out and people use Dark Bomb instead?
It's just 1 damage difference, 1 mana difference, and you don't have the drawback of discarding a card. There's not... Since there's more cards, a bigger card pool, every card has more value inherently. At least that's one of the ways that I looked at it. Like, there's not any cards that are just like, well, I could just get rid of that card pretty easily. Because there is cards that I think are really important, especially in the current Zoo right now, where it's like mid-range, where you have a lot of like big creatures that you sort of rely on, like Doom Guards.
Sure, sure.
Where back in the day, you could discard a Doom Guard and still be okay because people didn't have as many ways to deal with heavy aggro.
Ooh. Well, that definitely makes things interesting.
It's a lot of damage.
Abuser Sergeant and Arcane Golem. Next turn, that is how much damage? Oh, you can't Soulfire for 0. 8, 12 damage from the hand. You know, I understand a lot what you're saying, TJ. I think for me personally, I always thought of Soulfire as not as a 0 mana card and stuff. Well, I guess in Zoo it was. But in Handlock, I always saw Soulfire as a 2 mana card because you would always have to tap for it to replace it. And as a Handlock, you always try to make sure you keep up in cards. So it'd always be like 2 mana, deal 4 damage, otherwise you lose a card. You can always make the assumption that you wouldn't necessarily need that card anyways, that you're going to risk discarding. But now Soulfire would be 3 mana for 4 damage. And that just seems a little bit too slow for what you want to accomplish, especially in some of these demon decks now.
So, Shadow Bolt.
Yeah, kind of like Shadow Bolt. But, you know, especially in some of the demon decks where you really need to keep up some of those cards for synergy.
Yeah.
It just felt like Dark Bomb was just better.
Yeah.
And then the game has kind of moved on without Soulfire. But I think because it has, there will be an opportunity where Chakki drops the Soulfire and just completely surprises BunnyMuffins.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a lot of damage, huh? This is,
I mean, 16 damage over 2 turns.
Yeah. I mean,
that's just from hand.
Gang Boss.
But
does he want to play the Flame Imps and Abusive Sergeant and get the damage out now? I think it's very telling if you just play Abusive Sergeants and hit the face, though. Part of the problem, too, is what if his opponent plays a Taunt minion of some kind?
Yeah.
Get in there and fight, Mac.
I mean, that's a pretty big ward staring at him from BunnyMuffins here.
Right.
I'm not surprised that he trades into the zombie chow just because there's...
Swipe's been used.
Yeah. Swipe's been used, and also he's afraid that if he doesn't, he might just die in 2 turns.
Right. The Abusive Sergeants also represent damage, so Chakki calculating to see if he can take out as much as possible. Bunny, in the meantime, looks like he's... this is also a very, like, awkward situation. It's like, well, do I spend my big minions cleaning up these 1/1s? Or do I start hitting the face because I realize I can do 8 damage to him?
Yeah.
It's a lot to give up.
Wow, he's really respecting the damage.
Is it the right choice? I think so.
It's only 8 damage from him now. It's starting to dwindle.
Right.
Dark
Dark
Bomb.
Bomb. So you got Soulfire and Dark Bomb.
It really just is.
It's kind of awkward, too. You know, they're right now being separated by Nerubian and Ink Gang Boss. They refuse to sit next to each other. They're right now arbitrating the peace talks, TJ.
I see what you did there.
The thing about Dark Bomb is it's always smiling, too, and that pisses Soulfire off. It's like he's so happy that he's in the meta and Soulfire's not.
Yeah.
Personification is funny.
It's also rather disturbing at times.
Chakki's still pacing himself here, realizing that he doesn't want to go too ham. Don't Dark Bomb the face here. Plus, there's always the possibility your opponent might start having the combo and some things that might do too much damage. Shade snowballs out of control. Savage Roar ends the game.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's still put BunnyMuffins at 13 health. But, I mean, he's starting to run out of resources here. Especially with the taunt. It's going to take a lot to get through this.
Well, Ancient Lore hitting the face is pretty good. And remember, there's a second Ancient of Lore, too, so that heal can be really clutch here for Bunny.
Defender of Argus.
Not bad.
No. He has a way to activate the Nerubian egg.
I think... It is really hard to pass up multiple targets for Defender of Argus, and it fits the curve. It's just, you taunt up the Ink Gang boss. Not really. It doesn't really benefit too much off of the extra health. Your opponent can kill it anyways. But it's still really nice because it has such a high target of health.
Yeah.
My shield for
Yeah. Okay, so he ends up going for the egg trade there, so he can activate the 4/4. Bunny's got Harrison, which isn't going to do much. Emperor Thorson makes things cheaper for next turn, so he can pilot Shredder with the Ancient of Lore. Ancient of Lore draws more cards, but you'd rather use it for heal in the scenario where your opponent draws Doomguard. You're suspecting your opponent might be holding Doomguard sometime soon because he's been holding cards for a while and tapping a lot. Like, why would you tap a lot?
Yeah.
Although... Wait, no. It has to be like Power Overwhelming that he'd tap a lot. Because Doomguard, you'd want to play it as soon as you can, not
yeah,
tap.
there was a point in the game where he only had 2 cards.
Right, and he tapped.
So you could put him on having Power Overwhelming.
Power Overwhelming seems to be the most likely scenario. Or something like if it's Zoo and there's Void Callers and there's Mal'Ganis, he's like holding a super powerful Mal'Ganis card.
At the same time, one of these cards he's actually been holding since nearly the beginning of the game. And if it was Power Overwhelming, there was plenty of opportunities early on for him to use that.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It's a really hard thing to predict. Let's see. 8 damage from hand, 4 damage.
12.
Wow. He's actually on a draw to win the game. Actually, no, because he wouldn't be able to use.
Wait. Second Soulfire is awkward.
That's... Oh. He can tap?
He needed to tap that Soulfire.
Oh, man.
Wait, he could tap and just, like, play Arcane Golem, Soulfire, discard the Leper Gnome. So, okay, so that's 4 damage. I mean, he's going to go for it.
Yeah.
Why not? Soulfire first.
This is...
Oh! I see the Leper Gnome discard. That's the second Soulfire.
Whoa.
And we are 2014, boys. BunnyMuffins nodding. He's like, okay, you got me.
Yeah.
And Chakki did. Double Soulfire. That was not what BunnyMuffins expected.
No.
Chakki breathing a sigh of relief, because if he lost that game, it is so difficult to try and capitalize and surprise your opponent again with, like, Soulfires, you know?
Yeah. And there was a lot of things that he'd be punished for. I mean, if that discarded the Soulfire instead, he would have put him at 3 health, but he had Ancient of Lore next turn. He had a board that could contest. He was like a Savage Roar draw away from being able to have lethal of his own. So there was a lot of things that he could have been punished for. It wasn't a win-win scenario. That Soulfire not getting discarded was probably what secured him the game. So he would have lost, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, Leopard Gnome was more damage, too. It was 2 damage to the face.
He would have brought
But he had an
9
Ancient
health.
of Lore. He has an Ancient Lore to heal, and then he can stall for time. Still, though, that was very, very tight finish there for Chakki. Now, he still has Hunter and Rogue up against the Hunter and Druid for BunnyMuffins.
Yeah.
How does the aggro Rogue do against Druid?
I'd imagine it'd do pretty well. Just because if you get a slow start like that, I think the Rogue can punish it even more. Because then you finally play a bigger drop and he just saps it and then just keeps on going. I don't think I mean, card draw, what we saw in the first game where if you play a Collate Oracle, I don't think it's quite as effective against like, I don't think you can use it to your own benefit as much as a Patron Warrior can. Because you wouldn't have been able to piece together that lethal, where a Druid, I mean, sometimes more cards is not what you need. You need the right cards, but if the cards that you draw aren't the right ones, then it just doesn't really do you much. So I think the Rogue actually would fare a lot better. But he's going to go with Hunter. Can imagine, judging by the theme of decks that Chakki has been going with, that this is going to be a Face Hunter.
Yeah, the Face Hunter seems to be more aligned to the theme. Sometimes it's a little bit bad to bring decks that don't necessarily fit a certain theme. So, like, if you bring 2 aggro decks and then 1 mid-range deck, unless the mid-range deck is, like, super powerful and robust that can tackle most matchups, it's a little bit inconsistent with your game plan. So all of a sudden, it's like you win twice with aggro decks, and then your mid-range gets capitalized upon.
Yeah. In Conquest, you're more rewarded for having a singular point of view, whereas you're trying to focus on targeting one deck or one type of deck, than having like a blanket. Because if you put them in a position, your opponent in a position where there's one deck that they can't find a win with, that's all you need. Because they have to win with all 3 of their decks. That's why having a theme and having a singular approach, I think, is a lot different than trying to blanket counter a bunch of different things.
Yeah. Sound like my English teacher. Talk about the symbolism of all our decks, TJ, and how it relates to the time periods
and blankets
of our motifs and symbolism and the iconoclastic sets of time.
Deep.
500 essay due on Monday. Snipe! Okay, so there is a deck out there. By the way, that Max No was from Buzzspear, not from the deck. There is a deck out there that I think Stan Sivka was pioneering. And Stan Sivka, the DreamHack Bucharest winner, and he also qualified for Game House Cup #3. He's going to be there. The guy is also literally talented at everything in life. He's like a god at ping pong. He's fit. He's good looking. He's good at card games. He really, literally has it all. And he's also a phenomenal deck builder. He was playing with Snipe and it's like the top 10 legend, and also using it to win some tournaments. I'm really impressed by people who can utilize Snipe timing correctly, because it is a hard card to play right. If you just play it improperly, it just stinks, and it's like a dead weight in your deck. It's like, oh, they play Sludge Belcher, and you still have to get through so much, and like Hunter to get through Sludge Belcher that gets sniped is really inefficient. You play Animal Companion, still trades well, that kind of stuff.
This Hunter deck, though, seems like it is really weak against a mirror matchup when you're facing off against a Face Hunter. Especially Snipe. Snipe is incredibly ineffective against Face Hunter because, well, I mean, it can get a charger. But like cards like Animal Companion, it's a spell, so it doesn't even, it's not even affected by Snipe.
Right, exactly. There's so many ways for it to not be really powerful. Ooh. Now it's just like crossing the fingers on the abusive sergeant. No, right in the chest. But this is a lot of damage. So the thing about Snipe is that it's really great against Warsong Commander. They play Warsong Commander, Snipe. Or even on turn 5 when you expect him to have Death Spite,
and the Grim
you
Patron.
play the Grim Patron,
Sniped.
count him out, sniped.
Yeah. Yeah, and back in the old days, I tell the story sometimes. Snipe was fantastic as a tech card in the Miracle Rogue days.
That's right, against Gadgetan Auctioneer, or
Yeah.
if you know Leroy's like their only minion remaining,
Yeah.
they just Leroy and Snipe.
Which a lot of times, I mean, it is their only creature remaining. You
Now-
can really narrow it down.
Did you know this, TJ? Because I played this one time in Arena. If you have an Ash Drake out, and they play, and somehow you got Snipe off Mad Scientist, and they play Stranglethorn Tiger, sniped, it dies. 5 damage.
Oh, really? It's affected by spell power.
It gets buffed by spell power.
Wow. That's an interaction.
Did I just blow your mind?
No, but yes. I'll say yes.
I did.
I would imagine that.
I did, and it was beautiful.
Because
this game is
if explosive trap is effective.
We actually didn't talk about this game at all, TJ.
Yeah, well,
we just talked about the wild scenarios that Snipe can introduce. But what happened was the deck was too slow to keep up with the Face Hunter.
Yeah.
That's usually what happens. The Snake Trap is really strong if you force your opponent to play a board game, but when your opponent is just rushing past your defense line, you saw the weaknesses of Snake Trap and Snipe. I think Stansifka played Freezing Trap and Snipes in his deck. What was really interesting about Stansifka's deck, too, was that he had no kill commands.
Yeah.
And that was because he played only for the board. He had Ragnaros, he had Dr. Boom. He even had the normal shebang, but just no kill commands to finish the game because he had cards like Rag instead. I'm not sure if that's the version BunnyMuffins is running, but if he's running similar to that, it ended up costing him because he needed to stop that damage. And Chakki did get, Huffer, and Huffer to the face is really hard to come back from because you need to trade with Huffer, and then you lose damage and tempo.
You look at Snipe, it took out an Abusive Sergeant that
Right.
had already put on its battle cry, so it effectively didn't do anything for stopping damage like that turn. I mean, it prevented 2 damage for the following turn, but that's really not effective.
Right.
If you
know what it would have been
break it
better
down.
in that scenario? Maybe eye for an eye, because the Hover would have done 4 damage and done right back.
Yeah. That would have been better.
Well, actually, Explosive Trap would have been amazing in that scenario, but
Explosive Trap
unfortunately,
would have been godly.
Yeah, would have been good because those snakes also did a lot of damage for Chakki. They stuck around for so long and forced some really awkward trades too.
Yeah.
So Chakki's up 2-1, and this is the position where BunnyMuffins was really afraid of. How does he utilize his remaining decks to take out this aggro rogue, which could be the limiting factor? I mean, what if this aggro rogue just falls flat on its face and doesn't win any games, and Chakki just loses here? That's also a realistic possibility.
Yeah.
That's the danger of bringing a, quote, unrefined deck, end quote, to a Conquest format like this, because Conquest punishes decks that are unrefined so much.
Yeah.
Because you have to win with them. And last Hero Standing, if you don't have a good deck, it loses, it's out, whatever. I tried. But in Conquest, if you lose, you have to win with it. You're only as strong as your weakest deck.
Yeah. I'm not sure if this deck is completely unrefined because.
Well, I'm not saying it's completely unrefined.
I've seen this deck more times in the last 2 days than I've seen anything similar in the last 3 months, which it probably tells you something. There's some player, some practice group somewhere that have been experimenting and trying to refine this deck over the past couple of days. I actually played against Ixar on ladder the other day.
Ixar, the balance designer for Blizzard.
He was playing this exact deck, nearly. At least all the cards that I've seen, he was playing in the deck. And
it's good stuff.
Beat him with Dragon Rogue.
You beat him with Dragon Rogue.
Yeah, he had I'd imagine he had a really bad hand.
What dragons were in there?
Malagos, Alexstrasza.
Wow. And you're playing Sinister
and
Strikes?
2 Azure Drakes. Sinister Strikes, yep.
So you had 4 dragons?
4 dragons. Black Mutations.
That is casual level of dragons.
Yeah. No, I had Chromagus as well, but I never drew it in
That's
that
pretty
matchup.
sick.
Yeah.
Chromagus, you get my approval.
Yeah. And double shiv, that type of thing.
Yeah, well,
you just play
backstab for 7 damage.
Yeah.
Killing Dr. Boom. That's the balance, you know. You Emperor Thorson so that when they play Dr. Boom on 7, you Malagos for 8 and backstab it.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Double Loot Hoarder. This is problematic because Druid doesn't have easy ways, and the Loot Hoarder is sneaking in damage. I used to really underestimate Loot Hoarder a lot back when people were first replacing Novice Engineer with it. Because Novice got nerfed from a 1-2 to a 1-1. Which I'd like to see reversed just for, the heck of it.
Yeah, back then it was powerful because there weren't as many strong opening plays.
I think mid-range would actually become really good again. To the point where people might start complaining about some stuff.
Well, it was literally put in every deck. The Novice Engineer.
Yeah, that was the reason why they nerfed it.
Yeah.
He went for a Harrison Jones over the Dr. Boom, but not to worry because he has Innervate to clear the board. That's still a lot of damage in hand. He's got Tinker Sharp Sword Oil and a Blade Flurry with Eviscerate. It's at least 12 damage over the course of 2 turns.
Yep. He's got Cold Light Oracle to draw into maybe some of his chargers like Wolf Rider. Sap's actually pretty good because it can allow him to push through later on in the game. But this is slightly awkward.
Well, I remember that the old aggro rogue didn't have backstab, right? Did it? It went for like really aggressive cards.
Like the backspace row?
Yeah, did it have backstab?
I actually don't think so. Backstab might be into combo like Tinker Sharp Sword Oil. Like to help combo. I can't remember if the list did have it. He actually might just pass.
Well, backstabbing this doesn't actually accomplish anything unless he wants to eviscerate it. So he does end up eviscerating. Just because he doesn't want to take that kind of pressure.
Yep.
To be fair, Harrison, 5 damage a turn is no joke.
He would have been able to clear it the turn after with like backstab SI agent, but that is a lot of damage. And this is not what Chakki wants to see. He has an empty board. He just had to use backstab and an eviscerate to clear Harrison Jones.
Yeah. But now he sets up another weapon, and he's got Deadly Poison Sharp Sword Oil. So next turn, if his opponent plays Dr. Boom, oh, he can Wrath, though. Wrath and Boom is so big, because now the Sharp Sword Oil doesn't get the 3 extra damage. Instead, it becomes a 6 damage weapon.
Yep.
I think that's the difference between winning and losing here, being able to Wrath that.
Yeah, he's reduced a piece of the combo as well, so combo can come a turn earlier. If he draws a Force of Nature next turn, then the game might just be over. Unless he feels like he needs to sap this Dr. Boom, which I think he might.
Probably will, and then sap it.
And double Cold Light Oracle.
Right.
But that's also getting BunnyMuffins closer to potential like double combo status.
Yeah, or just like, you know, Savage Roar with Druid of Claw. It should be fine. You have 22 health. If you sap and your opponent has Force of Nature, Savage Roar for less than 9 mana, how much damage is that? That's 20, right? He still should be okay. Hypothetically speaking.
Yeah, and that's it's a possibility that he could trade in his bombs and get both on 4 damage. So it's maximum 22.
So if you play sap and he go ahead and plays that one more time, what's your plan then? A big Blade Flurry will just encourage like 8 damage to your own face.
Yeah.
And you're going to be struggling with combo. He needs a charger. Like he needs like the Cold Light to draw into things like what's it called? The South Sea Deckhand, that's what it's called. Because the South Sea Deckhand would have allowed him to enable the Sharp Sword Oil and Deadly Poison. But he ends up going for a sap instead. He's about to also get some bad news that Cenarius is here. And he's going to force a Blade Flurry out of him.
I don't think he's going to be too upset about that because he might have been... I don't know, not with Deadly Poison in hand. I was going to say he might have been planning a Blade Flurry regardless.
What?
But I think he just wanted to use that Tinker Sharp Sword Oil's 8 damage and then be able to use the Deadly Poison later for Blade Flurry.
Sure. He's going to try to... I think what he wants to also do is use Shadow Step as a potential just charge for the win.
Yeah.
Dr. Boom has just leveled up.
That's scary.
No charger.
Oh.
Cold Light Oracle, Blade Flurry. I mean, a lot has to go right for Chakki not to just die in his mind. But one thing is for sure, he has to Blade Flurry those. There's just too many targets for Savage Roar.
Yeah. See, if he draws into Arcane Golem with the Cold Light Oracle, he can Arcane Golem Cold Blood for 8, Shadow Step for 4 more, 12, 16 maximum damage if he draws into Arcane Golem.
Yeah.
Still be 3 off. Don't think the deck runs prep. But if he... Nope, still wouldn't be. Oh, 4 bombs. 4, 4, 3, 3. Oh my god.
That's 14 damage in bombs.
Oh my.
Oh, sweet lord.
Wow.
If he doesn't draw Eviscerate, I think he just dies. And there is the South Sea Deckhand. That's good. Well,
Ouch.
'twas fun game, I suppose, for one person.
Oh man. That was a lot of Boombot damage. That was amusing.
Yeah, bust out the trumpets indeed. BunnyMuffins ties it up, and the Druid escapes the claws of the Rogue. And once again, we brought to the question can we see this Rogue deck win a game?
Oh, well,
Should Chakki just have played Mech Shaman?
potentially. I don't know if this Hunter is going to be able to deal with the Rogue, though. The Hunter seems like it was definitely
Yeah, I
targeted
think so.
more towards slower decks,
Being
maybe
the Patient Warrior, the Handlock,
Yeah. But
and maybe the Hunter as well.
against
Like,
super fast decks,
yeah.
I'm not sure how effective it'll be.
it's a good question. Not too sure myself. We're gonna see. It's been a very good win rate for Hunters when they're not playing other Hunters so far in the Redemption Tournament. BunnyMuffins at least has sent it to the game number 5. I think this is the best position he's ever had in the series so far.
Yeah, this is, I mean, he has the same amount of wins in this series.
As he has in his entire broadcast career.
Yeah, and
He's doubled up.
He's doubled his wins for the Legendary Series already just in this best of 5 alone. He was the first player eliminated in the regular season week that he played in. And it was pretty rough. He lost to 2-Wet 1-3 and then lost to Domdus 0-3 in that first week.
Yeah.
Or in week number 4, but that was his Legendary Series week. So he's had a rough time. Maybe one best of 5 victory is all he needs to just unlock all of the potential.
To lava shock him?
Yeah, it's just trapped inside those large framed glasses. All of the potential. Maybe he just needs to take them off, and it'll all come out.
Those are some pretty big glasses for sure.
Yeah.
Watch your...
We can give... No. I was going to say we can give him the benefit of the doubt and just say that he might just have their normal sized glasses and he has a really small head. But
I think those are pretty big glasses. He could watch 2 IMAX films at the same time using those glasses.
you save money.
I mean, I know I have pretty big glasses as well.
Yeah.
I'm actually getting new glasses soon, TJ.
I won't
My
even be-
vision has, gotten a lot worse, so I need to get it updated. So I will get a new pair.
Are you going to sell your glasses right now on eBay?
No,
Okay.
I will not. Chakki keeps Deadly Poison. It's a really versatile card. Sometimes when you're playing really aggressive, though, you just need those early minions. So Deadly Poison, while absolutely awesome, it's like still a turn 3 play.
Yeah.
And he would love to get one of those turn 1 plays. Doesn't get it. No coin. Double Web Spinner and Haunted Creeper. That is some great anti-aggro tools.
We haven't seen like Argent Squire in this deck. The cheap drop that we saw was South Sea Deckhand. There's not really a reliable drop to like get you going to start off the game. So I'm not sure if Chakki just hasn't drawn into any of those or if he just doesn't run them. But it seems weird to just have your creature your creature level just so clogged up with 3 drops. He runs SI Agent, Cold Oracles, Wolf Riders, Arcane Golem. It seems like all of his creatures are at that 3 mana, which seems like he'd get off to really rough starts a lot of the time. Double Blade Flurry.
A pretty bad draw.
I mean, I think his hand's bad enough to where he can just Cold Light Oracle.
Yeah, so that's definitely a possibility. just to see how things would go out. But the problem with Hunter is that you're giving him more cards to curve out, and curving out as a Hunter is like the most important thing as a mid-range. If you just play like Hero Power and pass, you set up for a Deadly Poison SI. If you play Wolf Rider, it just dies to the Haunted Creeper. So it seems like this is the least bad option.
And that Stranglethorn Tiger did come from Web Spinner.
Yeah.
So even though we talked yesterday about the possibilities of Stranglethorn Tiger in mid-range Hunter, which used to be an include back in the day.
I mean, it's really powerful if you need to get that latent damage in, you know? The fact is, it stays hidden for a while, and then all of a sudden it pops out.
It's guaranteed damage.
Right. People always talk about, like, the effect of Lotheb, the effect of Sylvanas, the effect of Shield Maiden. They just forget that the 5/5s hit like a truck.
Yeah. And sometimes those cards are removed on the first turn they're played. Stranglethorn Tiger, I mean, it's guaranteed damage, and even after the guaranteed damage, you have to still get through the body as well. So,
Chakki even playing around the possibility of Hound Master. He's going for every single type of play around as possible, but instead, SS will be taken down, so that way he can set up the way for the Stranglethorn Tiger.
looking kind of grim.
Well, he's got Blade Flurry now with Wolf Rider. That's kind of okay, actually, considering that you would force your opponent to trade into it.
But
And you might get Wolf Rider to attack twice.
he's taking a lot of damage, though. And this is sort of what mid-range Hunter loves. They love to, as long as, especially against aggro decks, if they've controlled the state of the board and have the initiative going into turn 5, turn 6, turn 7, as long as they have plays for those turns, I mean, those are the power turns for mid-range Hunter. Because that's like Sludge Belcher, Lotheb, Stranglethorn Tiger, then Savannah Hyman.
But if he
then
plays
Dr. Boom.
Lotheb, that means Wolf Rider double dips in damage. If he plays Sludge Belcher, that's what really gets complicated, because then Cold Light has to dig out a sap. But if you dig out the sap, you get more damage in again. He could also just go completely ham and Wolf Rider Cold Blood for the guaranteed damage. He Cold Lights instead. More damage coming to the hand. Shadow Steps, another 4 damage. So he's got, or sorry, not 4 damage, 3 because the Wolf Rider.
Yeah.
3 damage. Oh, wait. Yeah, okay, sorry. So he's got 3 damage, 6, 10, 14 from the Cold Blood. He's 8 damage off.
He's still got a lot of draws for damage in his hand. Arcane Golem.
That's 18. Nope, that's 19. Arcane Golem plus Shadow Step and Cold Blood is 12, 16, 19 damage, 20 with the hero power. He doesn't have to worry about it. He can actually attach Cold Blood onto this and just hero power down.
Yeah, because with Shadow Step, either way, that Cold Blood's not going to ever attack twice. So getting the 7 damage in.
This is so crazy.
Wow!
And now he's 1 damage off lethal next turn?
Yeah.
4. Yeah, he's going to be 1 damage off. I mean, he's assuming this is dead. This Wolf Rider's dead. It'd be an absolute miracle on ice.
To my side.
If it survives.
Unleash the Hound to kill off the Wolf Rider. Chakki's also on a clock, though. I mean, he's taking 9 damage this turn. He's
Yeah, that
staring at a board
Huffer
with
was
9
really
damage
big
on it.
deal, too.
Is that it?
Yeah,
That
actually,
is.
that's exact lethal.
Wow!
Oh, no, that's a little bit over.
Yeah, 1 damage
Oh,
over, I
man,
think.
BunnyMuffins is tilted. Oh, he came so close to redeeming himself. He's going to lose.
No.
Oh, man.
Is that a BM?
Brutal.
Oh, no.
No, that's not a BM.
He didn't attack with the Arcane Golem.
No, he did.
Oh, did he?
He was going to be 1 damage over there. Now, that's BM.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Overkilling him by 1. Have you no manners, Chakki? Wow, what a scary moment for the Dignitas player. He thought that maybe that was the end of his run, but he squeaks out past BunnyMuffins, who, you know what, he had a lot of interesting choices throughout that game, too, even though it was like, oh, yeah, you know, he had to defend against the aggro, but he chose to go for the Tiger over the Sludge Belcher to get more damage. He decided to race.
Yeah. He was 1 turn away, effectively,
Right.
from killing from killing
that
Chakki.
kind of stuff. And if he did, maybe he had an opportunity to play Lotheb, deny the spells, because you know that deck revolves around spells, the oils, the deadly poisons, the flurries, the saps. So it's one of those things where there's a lot of interesting decisions that could have actually been made that treat out into different results here. And I kind of wish I could go back and see what happened. But the bottom line is BunnyMuffins decided to invite his opponent into the race, but that rogue deck has just so much quick damage burst. And that was a turn 7 kill, just like the old days. They called it turn 7 rogue in Asia because of how fast it was. Because where the deck originated was from Asia.
Well, it was Chakki. He will be playing GCT Turth, who got that bye for the first round later on. But of course, the next matchup is going to be between Modern Leper and Lead Paint. Modern Leper we saw in week 4. Lead Paint actually was one of the players who qualified twice. So
that's right. He'll be seated today and tomorrow.
Today and tomorrow. But I'm sure he wants to get it out of the way and try and win today. If he wins today, then he'll just won't be participating.
My apologies. He plays today and Sunday.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Tomorrow is the Silent Storm group.
All right, well, that should be a really exciting matchup. Of course, we have that matchup plus many more here in the Redemption Tournament of the Hearthstone Legendary Series. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.